Hey, folks, thank you for joining us. This is GAG Anime, our third episode of GAG Anime. Tonight, we're going to be talking about solo leveling, episodes 7, 7.5, and 8. Got some thoughts about that 7.5, but let's get into it. GAG Anime. And we're back. So this is GAG Anime. I am your host, Elder Geek Sam. Joining me today again for our GAG Anime series is Cashmere the Pro. What's going on, Cash?
Feeling good, brother. Feeling good. Ready to talk more anime after a rainy couple of days.
Rainy couple. You know what? But the rain actually gave me an opportunity to stay inside, sit my butt down, and watch some anime. I got a chance to watch. I watched some different stuff. I apologize. Let me apologize right now. I still have not started Mob Psycho. Only because from our previous video where I talked about our recommended watch list. I have like 4 other anime plus solo level that I'm watching. So I'm current on everything else. And I actually finished an entire season. I want to say it was 12 episodes, a random anime. There were 2 versions. It was Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World or something like that. It is exactly what you think it is. So I'm not even going to pretend like I'm not that guy. That's what I watched. Hell yeah.
Gotcha.
But let me tell you, it's crazy because it was fan service is an understatement. It was all the ecchi, all of the fan service.
I approve this message.
But the crazy thing about it was it actually had a pretty damn good story. And so I'm kind of like, y'all need to go ahead and get working on season 2 because I need to know what happened. Does it you can't leave like that?
Yeah,
but it was really good, and it had like the same kind of RPG elements that exist in solo leveling. One of the things that I really like about solo, and as we discuss these new episodes, we have episode 7, 7.5, and 8. So we got the first filler episode, and for a new anime that's as popular as this is, while I'm not happy about a recap episode 7 episodes in, I'm not mad about the recap episode. I'm not mad about it. Having watched Naruto, having watched a lot of these other animes that like go crazy with filler go brr, like this was okay.
This is a minor infraction as far as filler goes.
But I do believe there was something in terms of a behind the scene production issue. Doing the recap was like a quick way to save face to still have an episode premiere, because what would be the penalty if they didn't put out an episode on Saturday at 12:30? You got to put something out. So what they did was they went through, they clipped out all of the important details. It's almost one of those things where like, you know what? If you just started at 7.5, I don't know how many episodes are going to be in this first season, but if you just decided to clip out all the important bits, 7.5 gets you caught up pretty quick. Or if you're someone who has been waiting to binge, you can skip 7.5 and go right from 7 to 8. And so it's, in the grand scheme of things, 7.5 isn't the worst thing they could have done, and I'm okay with it. But we did get some pretty interesting stuff happen. We've seen our protagonist, Jin-Woo. He is like fully leveled now after he had to defeat
leveled. Whoa, slow down there, buddy.
Well, not fully leveled. He is significantly leveled. I think that might be the more accurate phrase. He is significantly leveled.
There you go.
After we see that he took out the raid party from the previous dungeon, had to get those people out, completed that special. He and the other guy, the son of the
June, I think it's Yoon or
right.
It's Joon is how his name is spelled, or is it Y? Yeah, but I think it's pronounced Yoon.
And so with those 2 being the only ones that live, we get to see the little clip where the older brother of the party leader, he's like now looking and wants to know like what happened to my brother, who are the people that survived. He's basically like, cancel all my plans. I got to go back and see about this other thing. But because he's one of the S-class heroes,
right? And then I mean, like one of there's like single digits. S-class heroes are in single digits. So this guy is.
If I'm not mistaken, there's only 12 of them.
Is it 12? I didn't even think there were that many. I thought there were, but it's a low number. So, I mean, This guy's a heavy hitter.
So we know at some point there's going to be a meeting of our main character and this brother. And he's going to
Yes.
want to know, how did you survive in this dungeon with my brother? Because you're an E-class adventurer. And
Yes.
there's no way that you should have survived if my brother didn't survive.
Yeah. Though I'm sure they're going to stretch that out, that meeting. They're going to stretch that meeting out before they have to.
Absolutely.
You know.
I mean, it's not going to be something that happens real quick. And I feel like that's probably going to be the buildup. And this is just like an early prediction. I might be wrong. And you might already know because you read the web. But I feel like it's going to be something that builds up to like a cliffhanger for the season finale, where they finally are facing one another, or they're called to work together on a dungeon raid. And now it's like, he's here, I'm here, weird things happen in a dungeon, and he's looking for an opportunity. But of course, Jin-Woo is going to know that that's the situation, and he's going to remember like, oh yeah, you're his brother, but we're now working together. Let me keep my eye open. And we actually get a little bit of that because the new guild that's trying to be built, the son is part of the construction team, and we got a chance to see in episode 8 where the father is talking about how all the great resources that are necessary for this world now exist in the dungeons. And so the only way people can really head is to have raiding parties that can go into the dungeon. So they're trying to build their own guild. And he decides he wants to hire Jin-Woo to be like, he's recognizes like, I know you're E-class, but you're not E-class, because he calls him boss. He gives him the respect he deserves because he saved his life.
Right. I mean, you go through something like that. So I wasn't there, and I really appreciate you holding us down for episodes 4, 5, and 6. Thank you very much. Excellent job.
Not a problem.
Those episodes like 6 really set up the whole, this is this world that we're living in, right? It's diabolical. In the midst of all of this stuff going on, this world can be incredibly diabolical. There are going to be some evil characters, the potential for evil characters, and just, ultimately humanity, are the devils and things like that. And I'm not saying this is the direction it's going in, but it definitely does point that out, in episode 6. 7, what I like about 7 is the way it follows it up. And then 7 kind of also sets the tone for Jin-Woo's sole motivation at this point for leveling up, where it shows the elixir of life. So it's now the possibility there to heal his mother. It expands a lot more on the relationship between him and his sister, how she's paying attention. It's the little details. She pays attention to him getting bigger and all these other things. And, she's noticing all these things about her brother.
She actually states in one episode that he went from having to be healed after every raid, and now he's regularly going out to do these different missions.
Oh yeah, she's paying attention. You get the great fight with Cerebus in 7. I mean, that fight is absolutely awesome. And I think it's also too, I like the change up from, so we had the snake fight, right? We had the big snake fight.
Right.
I like this one where it's like the stakes keep rising, right? We're watching the enemies get stronger, we're watching them get better, and we're watching him have to overcome serious adversity. Right. But his ex machina is still a logical progression. It is not what helps him beat the monster, is not the will to beat the monster. It is something that he's done before, that he set himself up. So, for example, like the poison, his ability to heal from the poison, he uses, right? He's learning how his leveling up to use what he's getting. It is not this OP, I can do anything, right? He's not a Darwin, I will adapt to do it. I can do anything to beat you. Right, exactly. I have to use what I am given so far to beat you. And he's doing a really good job with that. 7 was awesome.
I think the reason so many people enjoy this anime is because it is understandable on a level for gamers who play RPGs. It's understandable on a level for people who do tabletop D&D. Giving us the skill trees, giving us the attribute points that he has to assign and allocate those points, giving him the loot boxes when he completes missions and things like that. That's all the stuff that we do now. So being able to see a visual representation of that, it's little things like when he went to go fight the spider, or not fight the spider, but when he went to go do that dungeon raid,
Mhm.
and they had to have so many people, he did his run, which is part of his daily mission, to get there. As soon as he completed his run, his menu box popped up, and normally we would see him use his full restoration right then.
Right.
But because they started talking to him, he closed the menu and didn't use it. So then when he's in there fighting the spider, he still has that full restoration available.
Yep.
So even though his stamina was exceeded and it dropped down below the threshold, he still had a full restoration bank. And when you go to fight the boss in different video games, you save up all your healing potions, all your health pack, you get all your, green herbs and red herbs, and you create your mana potions before you go in so that you have everything you need to take on the boss. And if you don't have all those right items, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. So watching Sung go up against Cerebus, and literally, what is he doing? He's hiding behind a wall where he can't be seen, looks at his inventory. That's like when you pause, go into your menu, and use healing potions.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing that represented live in this anime, it made sense. And so it was something that was absolutely relatable, and it was a better visual representation than what I thought of.
Nice.
That was fantastic. And that's one of the reasons that I really appreciate this anime, because after I watch Solo Leveling and then I sit down and I start playing Diablo 4.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing. I go, I beat the dungeon boss, I get loot, I pick up all the different loot.
Oh, yeah.
I then have to do inventory management. I then have to go through, decide what items I'm going to keep, what items I'm going to sell. Just like when he was getting all the wolf fang. After he defeated all the goblins and he was getting the steel jaw lichens and he had all the wolf fangs. This boss I just beat dropped a bow for my ranger. Cool. Let me grab that. Oh, it has these stats, that type of thing. It was fantastic. And just seeing something that is so accurate to the way RPGs play out.
Right.
It's a callback to where they say in a previous episode, it was the title of an episode, it's like a game.
Yes.
In addition to that, the sub menu actually pulls up and gives him the option to become a player.
Yes, exactly.
So we got a player, it's like a game, the full menu. And when he first, when he's in the hospital, he's talking with his sister. He's like, hey, can you see this? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? And then he's like, oh, well, never mind. Hey, when you play your games, how do you read your messages? And she's like, oh, well, you usually have to go to your inbox. He was like, oh, inbox.
Right, yeah.
And when he says inbox, the messages pop up. All of those little details are fascinating. In an odd prediction, and not even an odd prediction, just a question from what I see versus what I think, like having watched a lot of different animes and looking for all the various tropes and things like that.
I like having the secret information on you. Go ahead.
So during the during the closing credit, we see these different images. At one point, we see an image where Sung is sitting on a chair looking like Death Note. You know what I'm saying? The way he's sitting on that chair looking at the TV and whatnot. And it looks like he's in some sort of like psych ward or something. We see him play out the scenario in his head where he decides to get reanalyzed. Obviously, his level has gone up, but he's still keeping it hidden. And the only person who kind of knows is the son who survived the battle with the spider.
Right.
So looking at those opening credits and closing credits, when you see those different images, oftentimes anime will drop hints.
Little clues and breadcrumbs.
And of course, I keep like every time it comes on, I still watch the intro because I'm waiting to see if there's something different or if they show a clip that wasn't there before, so I can be right there when they make the change and be like, I knew it. Right? You know what I'm saying? The Leo, but it makes me think this is a little bit isekai because he technically died and he's been reborn, and now he's coming back as a player. But then that makes me think if he's a player, then that means everybody else is an NPC.
So let's expand on that, because what I want to say is one of the things that I like that you mentioned before is that they work in the game mechanics. What this show is doing a very good job of is that the only person that we have to worry about those game mechanics for is Jin-Woo. So for beginners, it's a very easy show to follow because you only have to worry about this with one person. Everybody else is set. They are who they are. So they don't have to worry about those game mechanics, leveling up, applying the stat points here and there. So it makes it incredibly easier to digest for the casual anime fan. I think what's really interesting about the other character, the game mechanics, and regarding him being the player and the others being the NPC, I agree with that. I think this is isekai in a way, right? And because isekai is you go into the gaming world and get sucked in, right?
Or just,
but this is real,
some form of being transported to another world,
right? But technically, this is not another world. This is the real world. If you die, you die in real life. Now, the fact that they have healers, right? People have been given powers within the game, right? To heal people. In general, you're not supposed to be able to heal from death, right?
Correct.
So this guy's the only one who got the magic quarter, right? And was able to come back, right?
Ready Player One reference. I love it.
Right? He got the magic quarter. He's able to come back. So it very much is isekai. But I like the flip on isekai in that it's not solely devoted to the isekai, the fantasy transported away aspects of the game. There are real life consequences to when you participate in this world. When you go through a gate, there is the potential to die while you are in that gate. You are not just playing a game. You are not just living a fantasy. This has real world consequences. They're even concerned where if they don't beat the gate, the monsters from the gate will come into the real world. And that is something that we have to always keep in mind because that is a down the road potential thing, right? Like what happens if they don't beat the gate? What happens, right? They're not the only people we're looking at. There's other teams, other guilds. So what happens if they don't beat a gate, right? What are the consequences then? There's a lot of potential storyline that we're looking at just based off of all these little breadcrumbs that they set up for us, right? It's a game. What's gonna happen? Why? We still have to figure out why he's the only person who can level up. Why is this him, right? And you had speculated before when we went through the first 3 episodes that could that have been. Is he a chosen one? Or could that have been anybody? Right? Did everybody have that choice? If everybody had answered the questions right, if everybody had moved forward when it was supposed to, and did all the things that they were supposed to do, could they all have survived that?
Because ultimately, every time they go into a dungeon, they do a dungeon raid. It's like party XP.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only person currently who's able to gain XP, where everybody else is capped wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the option to level up. They don't have the option to improve. They don't have, and it was kind of funny because I was we see one of the S-class heroes training, and he's like working out,
right?
And he like punches through the big stone, and you got the big hole in the stone block,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, well, if you're not going to get stronger and you're not practicing skill or technique,
mm-hmm.
why are you even bothering to work out?
Right, true. I assume that the explanation for that is that he is practicing technique or something. That's how I try to make sense of it.
My logic was that even though everybody is already under the impression, because they say it a couple of times in the first few episodes, even though everybody is under the impression that whatever level you're at is the highest you can go,
mm-hmm.
there's still the human mentality to maintain.
True. Very true.
And so you still want to stay sharp. You still want to stay at your peak.
Yes.
I don't think they would even drop down, but they would still have the option to maintain what they have. The initial issue I had was there was no way to determine a power scale.
Okay.
They just told you this is S class, this is an A, this is a B, this is a C, D, and he's an E. E is the lowest.
Right.
And the closest thing we got to any concept of what that would be was when, after he survived the special mission, he was in the hospital and they came because they were checking to see if he had a reawakening.
Mm-hmm.
When he put his hand on the little orb, it still rated him as having a mana power of like 7 or something like that.
Right.
And they were saying that like even regular humans register higher than that.
Right.
So even though he's a hunter, the default idea is that at the very least, he should be peak human.
Right.
He's not even peak human despite being a hunter.
True. Okay.
And so that's why it goes off to say he's the weakest hunter of all time.
Correct.
Because he doesn't even meet minimum of what a hunter should. He's below that. So had everybody stayed together, had everybody gone through, multiple people would have had that option, because that was a secret dungeon that they went into. When they went into the secret dungeon and that particular god was there, when he managed to not die before the flame went out, that menu option popped up and it was like, congratulations, you've completed this quest. Do you wish to become a player? If you choose no, you will die in 0.2 seconds. We saw a similar menu when it came up and it was like, well, we see some people are trying to kill you. If you don't take them out, you will die.
Right.
There is a mechanic at play separate from your normal interaction. Even in any other isekai, when a person goes over and they're the hero that's been summoned or whatever the case may be, they're here to fight the demon lord, because you always got to fight the demon lord. There's nothing else to do in another world, apparently. The main thing is you get summoned to this world, you're going to fight the demon. Is that statue this world's demon lord? There's no way that statue is going to grant him this power, give him this ability, and never show up. In addition, when I talk about that mechanic outside this existence at play, I highlighted when he was fighting the snake. There's a scene. Go back and watch that video. There's a scene where he's in the water and the snake comes up under and knocks him out of the water. It knocks the train up in the air.
Yes.
He's running towards the wall and the train is coming towards him and it looks like it's about to crush him and fall on him.
Yes.
And then in the next frame, you hear impact, you see glass flying, and now the train is behind him, closer to the wall, falling towards him from the wall. Something kept him alive in that scene.
Okay. Because you did point that out before, and I did watch it. So I kind of got a bit of an explanation on that one. I feel like there was a part where what we're getting is heat of the moment, like at this moment time stands still because I'm in crisis, I'm in peril, and he's looking at the train, and then you see that, and then it's like, oh my god, I gotta think of something, and then it goes dark. And then when it turns around,
a millisecond frame.
Right, and that's when you hear the sound. But the next one, he turns around and he's running away from the train. And then the train does the Fast and Furious move where it just lands perfectly, flips over him while he's in a train station. So he ducks, I guess he gets into another bay or something like that. And it goes, and it hits the wall and goes past him.
But see, it makes me wonder if there are, when the party was going to turn and attack him, and he had to take out those 6 enemies, what knew that he was now at risk?
Now, see, and the way I made sense of that was this world is in the game, right? This world is part of the whole structure that allows him to level up. It's aware of anything that happens within a gate.
It is absolutely aware of everything that happens within a gate. He refers to it, I've heard, like the system.
Yes.
Whatever system gives him, because I want to say it's in episode 7. I don't, you know what? Honestly, I don't remember if it was in episode 7 or if it was in episode 7.5, but he clearly discusses that he's the only person that sees those menus.
That's correct. Yeah. And that was the recap, because he pointed it out earlier that he feels like, because he tested it on it when his sister came to see him, and he was like, hey, do you see these boxes? And she was like, no. Since
he's aware, not even subconsciously, but like the self-actualization that no one else is able to do what he can, because even he's under the impression that whatever level you're at, that's where you are. And now he recognizes that something about him must be special, that he's actually able to level up where no one else can. And so he recognizes that the system, because he says it at some point, the system is making him strong for a reason.
Yes.
And so that's what makes me think, like, if we follow the isekai rule, there's a demon lord that has to be defeated.
There probably is, sir. There probably is. Who knows?
And if there was going to be something that qualifies as the demon lord, it might be in that building that's on fire. It's very evident that there is something about the system. There's a reason for this. And that reason is what we're still waiting to find out.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
here's an interesting thing. And I just want to, this is like an early prediction. This is my red string theory.
Okay, I like it. Red string theory. Let's get to the board.
In episode 8, we hear a conversation between two S-class heroes.
Okay.
And they talk about the island,
Yes.
which we haven't seen since episode 1.
Yeah.
We haven't really heard about the island since and because it was not like we saw the regular troops who were fighting the ants. It didn't really look like they were doing damage. They were just trying not to die. Then the S-class heroes showed up. One cast a spell and like wiped out the entire right side.
Mm-hmm.
One like he like activated his power and broke through his own armor. You know what I'm saying? So we get you get an idea that okay, S-class heroes are something special.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, there still wasn't like a scale that you could look at and say, okay, these are D rank, these are C rank, and this is the damage they do. But here are S rank, and here's the damage they do. It was just here are these people, they're getting slaughtered, and then the heroes show up and they're winning the battle.
Right.
There's a clear difference in the power scale.
Yes. And I think one thing, so this show, and I think the purpose of this show is that it is the antithesis of what those shows are with the power scale. It announces very early there is a clear power scale.
Right.
But the show does not necessarily feel the need to establish what the difference in those power scalings are, because I don't feel that is the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show is there is a journey for one person. It makes us really focus on one person's journey. But in the midst of all of his journey, there's still a lot going on. And there's a really, I think it teases a very significant reason why all of a sudden there's this person who can now just level up at will. If as long as he trains, as long as he tries, as long as he completes these missions, as long as he fills all this criteria, he can grow. So I think it's setting us up for what level of enemy are you going to have for us? What level of battle, what level of conflict are we going to have to where out of a certain number of people in the world who have the ability to deal with a serious, demon dragon level threat type situation, you're going to have this one person who is clearly going to be the most powerful person eventually down the road, right? What level? And I think more of the focus is going to be on that, because that was my theory behind why they gave us the 7.5, because I feel like they're letting us know early this is not going to be a 14 episode season.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to the days of, hey, I'm going to give you 20, 30 episodes in a season. We're going to build the world. You're going to have to sit through some dialogue. You're going to have to get some backstory. You're going to have to get, this is the cool part people don't think about when it comes to, like, let's say One Punch Man. There's not a lot of Saitama fight. It's everybody else. It is everybody else. There's another anime which I absolutely love, Overlord. And Overlord, the whole premise is this dude cannot be beat, right? Their squad cannot be touched. But they had that entire last season was based like strictly off of political intrigue and back and forth and a maneuvering. Even though you knew how it was going to end, the episodes that series kept you engaged just by the dialogue and the relationship between the different characters. And that's what I feel like they're saying in Solo Leveling with 7.5. I'm going to give you a lot.
Yeah.
But every now and then I need to sit you down and just remind you what just happened, because we got a lot more that's getting ready to happen. So instead of you having to go all the way back to season, the episodes 1 through 7, and remember, just start here, and then this is 7.5 will make you good for 7.5 to episode 18.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like that's my theory on why they did that. Now they could have just fucked up and ran out of, somebody got a cold and didn't finish their panels and shit. But
and that's what happened. It's very possible. something that now, of course, everybody in turn was like, oh my God, 7.5 is the work, because we were so excited and hyped after seeing this battle with Cerebus. We just knew my man was going to be like trying to get into the tower, give us more information about the ingredients on their life.
Mhm.
What is going to happen next.
Right.
I did accurately kind of pre-predict that Sung was in fact going to end up agreeing to lead those raids with the son,
Mhm.
who's trying to create the new guild.
Yes.
They keep showing us this one young lady who, the one that the guild tried to recruit to be their
Okay.
guild master.
The S-class one.
Yeah. And so, that's the thing. And that's gonna play out somehow. Now, something that stands out with that, since we're starting to see a little bit of a mix of more S-class heroes,
Mhm.
now that Sung has gotten noticeably stronger, but still wants to kind of keep it hidden and keep it under wrap, at some point there's going to be a situation where he's in the same place as a higher ranked hero who's able to recognize and determine, like, you're not E-class, bro.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You're
that
not
has to
E-class.
happen. That has to
And
happen.
so that's, I think, why we're starting to see more S-class heroes just around. I am curious if he has the ability to like rank other people. Does the system allow him to see what level other people are? And how do people just know? Like, they don't have badges, they don't have like a tattoo with an 8 on it or anything like that. Like, what is the designation where you can look at somebody? And is this a skill that all hunters have?
Because
Where
they
you can,
do seem to be aware of each other's rank.
and it's like, how do they just instinctively know that
Mhm.
that's a B? Is it is that like the perception skill that he's upgrading?
Right.
And
Right.
all C rank heroes have XYZ number of stat points they can allocate. And then, maybe you get to a B rank. And even if you look at it like just with D&D, you have 20 stat points that you can assign. Then you have 50 stat points you can assign. Then you
Mhm.
have, and that would be the way that each rank, that's the difference between, because they discuss even like the amount of mana. So the mana
Mhm.
may equal the stat points and how
Right. The
those stat points are
potential. Right.
allocated.
Your potential rank based off how your mana points. I guess we'll see. We'll have to watch more episodes of Solo Leveling.
So I think in the next episodes, and this is just again my early prediction, I think in the next episode we see that the gang's all together again, and they're about to go raid this new dungeon. We got the previous dungeon leader now with just one arm.
Mhm.
We have the love interest; she's popped back up.
A little healer chick.
We have the two guys who flaked out and left for dead. They can't even look him in the eye now.
For being smart.
I get it.
I'd have left.
But I think that's going to be a really interesting dynamic to see this particular party go back into another dungeon. And the fact that, and I feel like they were handpicked.
Oh, easily.
This wasn't coincidence that the gang's all together.
Oh yeah.
This group specifically was handpicked. And I need to know, like, who chose this. And then the three criminals.
Another interesting monkey wrench. The plot thickens.
So it's like looking at that, and of course they have their babysitter who's a B rank.
More potential for your power scaling. So
all of that just is one of those things that just leads to like really make you scratch your head and say, like, okay, you know what? It's about to get wild, because I think what's going to happen is they're going to be in this next dungeon. Obviously, we have three criminals who have already shown some distasteful action. They're gonna break bad and do what they do. Criminal. Whatever threat is in this dungeon is going to be a bigger problem than they expect. And despite his efforts to kind of sit back and not reveal himself, Sung Jin-Woo is going to have to save the party. That's going to draw the attention of the criminals first. They're going to be the ones to witness his power and say, there's no way an E rank can do that. But they're criminals. So it's going to be a moral question as to whether or not he's okay and comfortable. Then the B rank hero is going to question why they're dead. But that conversation is going to be interrupted by the dungeon boss. And it's going to be higher than expected, because I believe the way this works, and this is always the case whenever you party up, like whenever you play certain video games and you do the RPG bit, and we'll use Borderlands as an example. Borderlands has two leveling options. Party up with us. You can either restrict enemies to your level.
Okay.
And gain the experience available based on your level. Or you can fight enemies based on party level.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the party level is always based on the highest ranking person part.
Gotcha.
I think Sung is stronger than this B rank hero.
Well, remember, they're not allowed to go in a gate unless you have a certain party member of a certain rank, right?
Correct.
You have to. So if you go into so they have a B rank person with, which means that this dungeon cannot be higher than a B.
Correct.
I think that B rank is technically the highest ranked person on the list of people going in. So,
but the thing that I think is going to happen is they think they only have one B rank. Technically, we know they have two because the healer, she's a B rank.
That true, yes.
And if Sung Jin-Woo is
Right.
actually an A rank,
right? But to understand, but the Hunters Association wouldn't let them go. They wouldn't put them together. Now, unless they did that, unless they said, "Hey, we're trying to see if this dude really is a higher rank." No.
Because at this time, I don't think there's any information or anything that would flag anybody's radar other than the fact that he survived when the one C rank brother died. That's right. That's a little odd, but you get the band back together. They go into this dungeon and it becomes an adaptive dungeon because it's supposed to be, we'll say, a D rank dungeon or a C rank dungeon, and now you have at least 2 B rank and a possible A rank in Sung Jin-Woo. The dungeon adapt. And that's why he's going to have to be the one to step up and save everybody. And that's going to reveal that he is not E rank hunt. And it's going to put him on the map and it's going to change the dynamic higher show.
And that's just a theory, an anime theory on Grown Ass Geeks.
There you go. So stay tuned, watch. Leave comments. Do you think that theory holds weight? Am I onto something here, or am I
like where you're going? I like where you're going with it. I like where you're going with it. I see the logical progression of that.
It's always about writing. Ultimately, I would be just amazed if that's how it plays out. Ultimately, I would be happy if it plays out that way because I feel that's a good way to drive the story. He's already shown that he doesn't want to let out that he's stronger than he has the potential to be. They're trying to recruit new people for the guild that he just signed up for. And if it comes out that he was an E rank who's really, as a matter of fact, let me pull this one thing up because this is where this theory was built. At the end of every episode, they give you the title for the next episode.
They do?
And because they give you the title for the next episode, so episode 8 was called "This Is Frustrating," but episode 9 is called "You've Been Hiding Your Skills."
That's pretty on the nose. I gotta say,
becomes obvious that somebody in this party, we have 3 criminals, a B rank who's there to watch those 3 criminals, the B rank love interest. And the one-armed man.
Right.
And then the other 2 people who left him for dead. And then we have Sung.
Right.
Everybody in that dynamic has a reason to be like, you're not actually ranked. Wait a minute. It's not going to be the love interest because she came to visit in the hospital. And
she's been rocking with him. She's been on several missions with him before. So.
Right. So she's not going to think anything of it. The one-armed man is a perfect person to say, like, that explains how you survived. That explains how you knew this. That like they have that conversation, and it would be really cool if it's him because they'll have that kind of secret. He won't rat him out because he owes his life.
It's true.
That whole like bowing at the beginning. Would you allow me to be the party leader? So he'll like keep it hush hush and be like, wait, they're not really in what's going on, and he'll confide in him, and that's the mentor figure. That's the Jiraiya character. You know what I'm saying? If you go back to some of the earlier conversations, he told him, he was like, look, some people can be mean. And yes, they've called you the weakest hunter of all time. But you know what? Try your best. Work hard and prove them wrong.
Right.
That's that mentor aspect. So if it's him that recognizes and he's the one that says you've been hiding your skills, he'll keep it quiet. Hush, he won't say that. If it's the B rank has no choice but to report this information back to the guild.
True.
If it's the criminals, now we have a moral dilemma as to whether or not he's going to kill the criminals to keep his secret. He'll justify it that they're criminals, but we saw the moral obligation. We saw the moral issue he had before, but he was ordered to kill those people by the system or he would die. Now he's taking it upon himself to kill these criminals just to maintain his secret.
Is he becoming that guy?
Is he going to go down that path?
Yeah.
Everybody has a reason for that to be the way this next story plays.
I understand the
I
line of thinking.
cannot
I
wait.
understand the line of thinking. I am
And the
hopeful
fact that I know that
for
you know that answer is, oh, that's what kills me, because I know that you already know. But you won't tell me if I'm right.
yeah.
No.
But the thing is you know something? They could change it. Who knows? They could change it. It could be that way. It could. I have no idea what they're going to do.
They could always do,
Sometimes,
that's the beauty of anime versus manga. They can
yes.
always do something different, and I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. But that is a quick little recap and some predictions, the good, the bad, the future predictions for Solo Leveling episode 7, 7.5, and 8. Hope that you've enjoyed this conversation we've had. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to click that QR code there in the corner. That's going to allow you to find Grown A Geeks everywhere we are. Follow all our socials and make sure to like and subscribe on this particular video. We will join you next time, because if episode 9 is that show, we're going to come right back for episode 9.
Yeah, we'll be here immediately.
We don't even have to wait 3 episodes in. We could just come right back for episode 9 if it's that show. And I think episode 9 might be that show. But that's going to do it for us today, people. We appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching, and we will holler at you next time. Peace.